AI in Education, brought to you by AI and Webinar Leads for You.
Attention University.
And performance analytics, freeing up teachers' time for more impactful interactions with students. AI can assist in language learning, automatic essay grading, and provide real-time feedback on writing assignments. AI-driven VR and AR technologies can create immersive learning environments, enhancing student engagement and understanding in various subjects. This new era increases the importance of soft skills and especially inner qualities, focus, listening, confidence, etc. They are essential to tomorrow's leaders, as they need to navigate the complexities of a data-driven, automated world while retaining their human touch. Universities are incubators of future leaders. Therefore, their development programs needs to complement the academic program by equipping students with the skills needed to thrive in this AI era. How does AI affect leadership? Join in the debate and engage in a live Q&A session with the expert panel. Thank you.
Great. Well, welcome everybody to this webinar summit. As you already saw, a brief introduction of the video created by AI. And my name is Luc Mulling, and I'm the moderator, so to say, of today's discussion. We do have three great presenters lined up for you. And they have each their own viewpoint on the topic, but we will go over to them in a couple of minutes. Before that, I'd like to briefly do a little introduction, but also explain to some of the audience, if you haven't joined a webinar from us before, how this works. So first of all, you can interact with us in different ways. You can ask questions whenever you have them, and write them through the box questions at the right bottom. At any time you can do that, and we will be answering the questions at the end. So after the presentation, we will go over those. So do feel free to bring your questions. You can also chat. In that case, maybe say where you're from, and maybe state the university if you like, or if you're joining from another organization. Feel free to do that. Actually, we also ask through pollings a couple of questions to you. So we already opened a poll. What is your academic and professional background? So if thanks to let us know, so we have a little bit of an idea who's on the other side of the screen, and to make it a bit more personal towards you as well. There will be a couple more pollings throughout the session. Last but not least, we also have emoticons. It's at the bottom of the screen. You see a little button called React. And yes, that's the one. You can click on it and give a little bit of a reaction to the topic if you hear something, just to make it again more interactive especially also for the presenters. Now, today you joined to hear about the topic leadership development programs at universities and the crucial role of soft skills in today's AI landscape. Now, a very hot topic, and I guess we all know about ChatGPT by now, and other AI tools that seem to be popping up every day. Here at Webinar Leads for You, we already make use of a lot of them, and maybe you do as well in your field. Of course, also if you read the newspapers, if you follow it a little bit, there's a lot of concerns about AI. People feel talking about the ethical parts of it. So it is, of course, as a result, the tech industry is recognized the need also for humanists and more soft skills to help guide and control AI. Just this morning, I opened the newspaper actually, and I read a whole article about this, interesting enough. And it was stating about this emergence of humanist and ethical thinkers to make sure it becomes not a negative impact. And of course, the ethical parts is a very important and key one. We're not going to delve in that topic exactly on the ethics today, but we will talk about the interdisciplinary approach in the education. So between soft skills, importance for leaders, and also some of the insights from the AI perspective. Now, to cite the article, I had one that it stated the technical, moral, cultural, and social barriers will be what truly determines whether these technologies are adopted or not. For that, it's not enough to have an engineer or an expert in hard skills. All right, that is just a little opener for this. And today we will talk about it with the three great speakers, as mentioned, that we have lined up. So you didn't join to hear me. Let's go over to them, and they will briefly introduce themselves. Starting, I would say, let's start with the last speaker, which is Claudio in this case. Claudio Cusano from the University of Pavia. Go ahead and briefly introduce yourself to the audience, and then we'll go over to the others.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Claudio Cusano. I'm a professor in computer engineering here at the University of Pavia. And here I make my teaching and my research mostly on machine learning and its application to computer vision and computational photography. I'm also the director of a new bachelor program entirely directed on artificial intelligence, and I will talk about this at the end of my presentation later on this afternoon.
Okay, so Dawn, you're next up.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night from wherever you may join us. My name is Dawn Albertson-Gass, she, her pronouns, and I serve as the International Scholarships Manager at the University of Bristol here in the United Kingdom. I am here to talk about the Think Big development program that runs alongside. So I mentioned I'm an International Scholarships Manager. It is combined within our scholarships program, which I will talk more about later, but looking forward to sharing in depth on our development program experience here at University of Bristol.
Hello, everybody. My name is Guillemette Vilman, and I am a leadership development consultant for universities and companies. I've been doing this since 2018, and before that I was working in international organizations such as the United Nations in Iraq, in the Middle East, the Agence France Presse press agency in Paris, France, and Ashinaga Foundation in London. Looking forward to this discussion all together.
Okay, sorry about that. Great, thank you. We will start off with you, Guillemette, so we stay on with you. And as mentioned, you are a leadership consultant. Let's hear your viewpoint on this topic, and we'll gladly then go over to the others as well. So thank you for leading us into this topic. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. So I'd like to start this session by connecting all together, even though we don't know one another yet, and this is a virtual circle, by just taking a bit of space and time to breathe. So I'm going to invite everyone present here today to a deep breath in through your nose and a deep breath out. When you breathe in, you can feel the air filling your lungs. And breathing out, you can feel your lungs emptying completely. On your inhale, you can feel the freshness, the clean, new oxygen coming in your body. And as you exhale, feel your tensions or any worry that you may have that you release outside of you. And one last time, let's inhale and align our spine. Feel the top of your head growing. And exhale, let your muscles, your skin drop from your structure and ground. Thank you for doing this with me. So, as mentioned, my name is Guillemette, and I train people to look inwards and to release blockages so they can become more aligned with themselves and with their values. I like to have, as you may have noticed, a really practical approach, using tools, using activities and practices to develop leadership qualities, such as focus, emotional awareness, alignment, proactivity, strategic thinking. Yesterday, I was leading a webinar on self-awareness, and I asked a few students to take some minutes to make a list of the behaviors, the patterns, the narratives in their lives that weren't beneficial to them anymore. So they went out into their rooms, into their virtual breakout rooms. And when everyone came back in the main room, the number one thing that all students agreed that they needed to do less of was spending time on their phones. One student even shared that by simply going outside this summer and doing things rather than using apps, his mental health considerably improved. So all statistics agree that young people that we call Gen Z are reporting poorer mental health and spiritual health than other generations. And we know from research that with young people, there's somewhat of an inverse relationship between screen time and psychological well-being. In other words, high utilization of screens is associated with poor well-being. There's a study by St. Cloud State University in Minnesota that says more than half of Gen Zers spend 9 hours or more in a typical day using their smartphones, and the other half spend 3 to 8 hours on their smartphones. And furthermore, 7 out of 10 of students admitted that they were addicted to the internet, and 2/3 believe they're addicted to social media. To illustrate my point, another study performed by UTA, it's the University of Texas, Austin, found that people could retain and process data significantly better if their smartphones were in another room. So just by turning their phones off and putting it away, they were able to use their critical and strategic thinking skills much better. So you, the audience, all of us here today, can you take a minute to remember your most powerful act of leadership? Was it when you were taking the lead as a child with your friends? Was it a moment where you inspired your community towards a common action? Or was it a moment where you put faith into your colleagues, into building their potential? Just take a few seconds to recall your most powerful act of leadership. And my question to you all is, did any of these acts require artificial intelligence or involve artificial intelligence? I really believe that we're at a time today when looking inwards and cultivating qualities is essential. So artificial intelligence can be a fantastic tool for data-driven decision-making, predictive analytics, automation, in fields like health, security, e-commerce, and even in our personal lives. But it should not at all shift the focus from internal work that we need to do as humans to evolve. It should really not create dependency. And this is what it's been doing. This is what's happening these days. So I train a lot of martial arts and meditation from a Taoist tradition. And my teacher's teacher used to say, qualities are what you have left when you are alone, naked, in the woods. In that sense, we want to free ourselves from external tools rather than increase our dependency on them. And that really extends to leadership qualities. I believe that a leader should embody resilience, focus, awareness, decision-making capacities, irrespective of the external tools that they've got at hand. How I understand AI today, and maybe we can have a discussion later about that, is I see it as a tool. It may evolve in the future and become much more than a tool. But just like a swordsman, having an incredibly magical sword won't make you a better swordsman. So it is desirable to use better tools, but I think it doesn't replace the quality that one has assimilated through their own work and practice. We have so much difficulty understanding ourselves as humans We don't understand our own emotions, our own dreams, our own physical and psychological tensions, let alone that of others. And there's so much to explore inside of ourselves. So my belief is that the more we take the time to sit alone with ourselves, with a curious mind, the more we can shed light on unconscious patterns that cannot be solved by any tool other than our own conscious awareness. And we all have the tendency to seek outwards when discomfort arises, but that will only bring a momentary relief. We always want to seek externally, looking for a phone, looking for information, looking for more possessions or experiences. And it has almost become pathological in our societies. Of course, we need to live in a world, and we need to live with the world and be open and curious about our surroundings. But how much are we neglecting our own self-understanding by relying on external phenomena so much like we're doing? So with the leadership programs that I run, I really offer participants the space and the tools to look a bit deeper at themselves and at their own lives. And so with self-discipline, daily practice, and clear guidance, they learn to cultivate qualities that transform them. And when things get too comfortable, we become complacent and lazy, and we start running on autopilot mode. There's a study that was conducted this year with Chinese and Pakistani students in universities, and it shows that 69% of laziness and 28% of the loss in decision-making are due to the impact of artificial intelligence. So AI helps with working in a more efficient, productive, and timely manner. But I would really expect a leader to have worked all of these qualities in the first place rather than relying on a computer. Being a leader isn't just about managing a company's profits. It's really about the ability to inspire and to motivate others, to make them feel safe. And that comes from setting the right example through our own behaviors and actions. So these qualities are prone to bringing wholesome behaviors in a team or society and result in positive outcomes. My motto is really that inner cultivation brings outer success. And in that sense, we can see AI as a crutch to our evolution. It can be a very helpful crutch. It can help us produce better and faster. But will it ever replace a quality that you've never assimilated or embodied? The human journey, and hence the leadership journey, is really about learning more about ourselves, about our humanity. And I think that AI, by outsourcing so much of the problem solving for us, can distance us from this necessary introspection. So I want to conclude this introduction by highlighting that being a leader is not about being perfect, but it's more about learning to make something wholesome out of imperfection and inconvenience in our lives. I'll now give the floor to Dawn, the wonderful scholarships manager at the University of Bristol. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you so much, Guillemette. Hello, everyone. I guess just as a reminder, my name is Dawn Albertson-Goss. I am the International Scholarships Manager at the University of Bristol, here to talk to you today about the Think Big Development Program. And just wanted to put the Think Big Development Program into context. As I mentioned, Think Big is our University of Bristol's flagship scholarship scheme. So that is kind of the foundation of our Think Big, is it is beginning as a scholarship scheme where we have invested into supporting undergraduate and postgraduate international students, of course, helping them fund their education to come to the UK. So that is our audience when you're thinking about our Think Big Development Program. It is a mixture of not just certain programs or certain levels. It is a mixture of undergraduate and postgraduate students of all the programs at the University of Bristol. And really, for the focus of our scholarships, it is centered on, and the application itself reflects this, on leadership qualities. The 3 questions we have are all specifically about the leadership qualities that the student is bringing to the institution, to the University of Bristol, when they're coming kind of away from any academic merit or financial need, really focused on their ability to be the best and the brightest and bring that leadership. So just wanted to provide that context. So alongside the scholarship scheme and funding the students, of course, we want to provide not just funding, but also some fun. So the Think Big Development Program, all students are invited to it. It is not compulsory for them. It is really given as an opportunity for them to just explore deeper, to be able to stay engaged and connected with each other. It is a bespoke leadership program that we have built alongside Ashanati UK and with conjunction and collaboration with Guillemette, who just spoke. So thank you so much, Guillemette, for helping us craft our Think Big Development Program. We are in our 3rd year, so still young and still learning, and still being able to really produce something amazing, and really a focus on kind of the interqualities and building out that leadership experience. So that is our foundation. And like I said, open to all Think Big awardees, all international students coming from different life stages and different programs. So a mixture, I would say, of your hard sciences and your soft sciences and all that. And what I really wanted to spend time really focusing on today is kind of the basis of our Think Big Development Program, which, as I've mentioned, is to focus on inner leadership, and on cultivating these 5 Think Big values. So we've focused on cultivating self-awareness, thinking big and developing your potential, developing a focused and stable mind, being proactive and making sure that you're taking initiative, communicating with joy, enthusiasm, and purpose. And just, you can kind of tell from the 5 qualities, we are looking for something much bigger and outside of ourselves. These are concepts that are hard to grasp, but on purpose, with the intention that it is something that you would develop and strive for. And potentially it's not about the destination of, eventually you will just have a focused and stable mind. It is about the journey of getting to a focused and stable mind, and that continual journey. So while we have a 1st year kind of curriculum set out for our postgraduate students who might be just in the 1 year, we also have this year just kind of established ourselves with our continuing students and working with our undergraduate students, and to go deeper into their education and their leadership learning within their 2nd and 3rd year. Here in the UK, we have 3 years, 1 year for our master's programs. Within the Think Big Development Program, we have different elements. So you can kind of see, we of course have our networking events where students have the opportunity to connect and network with one of each other. We have the workshops. I'm going to discuss the self-awareness workshop as well, that Guillemette has mentioned, and we both do both in person and online, just to be as accessible as we can be. And these happen throughout the academic year. So we just had one yesterday. As Guillemette mentioned, we will be having our orientation and just meeting with the students next week. And we will kind of almost once a month or throughout the semester have some sort of leadership opportunity for them to attend. And as I mentioned, from the student side, it is non-compulsory, simply an opportunity that we of course highly recommend for them to experience and get connected with us. Alongside those workshops components, we also have a handbook that has, I believe it's 128 pages of just kind of self-driven activities. Guillemette, thank you so much for leading us through that breathing. I think it always just helps us to pause and take a moment. And I think that's really what our workbook is focused on, is being able to take that time and self to pause away from your academic studies, to pause away from maybe the chaos, or sometimes just the go, go, go attitude that your higher education experience can provide, and provide the students some kind of quiet space to self-reflect through structured activities, kind of just follow instructions and work through it. And that workbook is not, linear. It's not like they have to jump right in and do it all in one order. They won't get the experience. They're really able to build out the experience thanks to the way that Guillemette has crafted the workbook, and jump around and focus on maybe those aspects that they really feel like they need to grow on. So maybe they feel like they have, as a PG student, really good self-awareness, but they're really wanting to jump in on maybe being more proactive, as example. They're able to jump to that page in the workbook and tackle it. as they see fit. So really an opportunity for them to just utilize it. And that means like if they choose to not go into any of the workshops, maybe they don't have the time, family stuff, whatever it is, they're still able to have some sort of kind of a passive or some activity that they can do on their own. So lots of different components that we're able to offer to really dive into these inner leadership experiences. So just wanted to provide some of our student voices kind of in regards to the program. So the tools and activities that made these leadership concepts more practical. I love the opportunity to meet and network with other scholars. I was glad for the opportunity to practice speaking as well. So again, just thinking about our audience is international students, but not just, I think, practicing speaking in just a common language, but also practice public speaking was a big part of some of our workshops last year, and things that the students had really looked for is building their confidence and building their ability to speak in public. And we've been able to do that. We've been able to do some of those practice sessions, and some of them have given presentations to the wider group. I don't know if I mentioned, but it's around maybe 250 students. So it can be quite a large cohort at times, depending on the various events that we're hosting. Another student said the program was well designed, looking at all aspects an international student might have to deal with. It was engaging and interactive, which made it more interesting and fun. This feels like a new beginning for me. I have an emotion from I'm carrying from this workshop, which makes me feel I can do wonders. I believe that followed our confidence workshop, which was a highly, highly regarded session where they just felt more empowered, and so exciting to be able to instill in them some of that confidence, to make them feel like they can do wonders. Like what an exciting feeling that we were able to kind of just provide the space for them to self-discover that they are more than they believed walking in those doors. So extremely excited. For those interested in the kind of hard facts and figures just taken from our survey, 94% of our students felt that by attending the Think Big Development Program workshops, that their experience at the University of Bristol was improved or enhanced in some way. 98% of them express that it helps them with those professional skills. So we're talking about inner leadership and the holistic development, but we also acknowledge that these are going to support their career advancement, gives them a step above potential competition and potential other applicants when there is a showcase of these interqualities and a presentation of confidence. So being able to help with their professional skills. And then 100% very excitedly said that they felt that the workshop, the Think Big Development programs, and the workbook really provided them concrete tools to explore their kind of inner qualities and be able to carry those forward. So really exciting feedback that we're getting from our students, and really hoping to continue it forward. What we're really hoping this year is we have more workshops available for them, since we just know how much they adore it. And I would also say that we build our workshops centered around what the students are asking for. So I had mentioned our confidence workshop. And so that was something the students had asked for, was that they wanted to work on their confidence. So right now we're looking at building the curriculum for this year around what this cohort is really interested in exploring. And in terms of AI, while we don't have the technical background, and I believe Professor Cusano will be able to provide more, Guillemette alluded to it a little bit, but just last night, and as I was kind of finalizing my preparation for today's webinar, I was reflecting on last night's. So we had a workshop surrounding the theme of self-awareness for our continuing student scholars. So it was an online workshop just through Zoom. And as I was just kind of diving into my understanding of artificial intelligence more, I wanted to fully acknowledge that it is a tool, but I kind of had a different thought about it when I was looking through Professor Cusano's presentation, so maybe a sneak peek. But what I was really kind of thinking is kind of this reflection on adopting this mindfulness of AI as just kind of a potential concept. Last night during our self-awareness session, as Guillemette mentioned, she had talked about being critical of thoughts and patterns and habits and routines. And I thought about how AI can be driven through the automation of those thoughts and patterns and the recognition of that, and being able to kind of take the data that it is like, it has the data that it is inputting into its system and outputting into it, and how we absorb the experiences of our world and being able to like open ourselves to kind of exit us, if you will. So the inputs that we are taking and the outputs that we are taking. And I thought deeper about the decision-making process of recognizing, again, those patterns and pieces of what AI does as kind of a concept, and the overall mindfulness of it. I think of how analytical and specific it is, and I'm wondering if that is one way as well, when we're thinking about our leadership and adopting kind of this mindfulness concept of AI as an opportunity to kind of explore deeper and recognize the recognition of patterns. So thank you all so much, and I'll leave it to the technical mind of Professor Cusano.
Yes, we'll get your slides up and we'll go over to you, Claudio.
Okay, thank you. So apparently I got the boring part of the afternoon, so I have to be technical here, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to give you the main intuitions about artificial intelligence. I'm not an expert about leadership. I work on AI, so that will be my viewpoint for today. And just towards the end of this short speech, I will give you some information about also how I think that maybe this may intersect the concept of leadership, but that's just my basic intuition about it. So first of all, let's start from the beginning. What is artificial intelligence? And you can find many possible definitions. Possible one is one, for instance. AI is the field of computer science that develops and studies intelligent machines. We can go very in depth here, but we won't. The definition is not so simple. It's very complicated to define what intelligence is and how we can make these artificial. Let's say that we all have some general idea of what artificial intelligence is about, and that's by and large would be probably correct. It's not a new discipline. It's not something new. In fact, if we have to put a date on the birth of artificial intelligence, we have this workshop in Dartmouth where the term actually has been coined. It has been held in 1956. So it's not a new topic. It's nothing really new. And throughout all this history, we had some highs and lows, many phases of extreme optimism that were followed by deep depression. In particular, we had a couple of periods that are called AI winters, where we were very depressed because we were not able actually to achieve artificial intelligence. Probably now we are in a very optimistic period about artificial intelligence in general. Now, there are many techniques and many approaches to artificial intelligence. Today, if you hear about any new development in artificial intelligence, probably it is related to the world of artificial neural networks, which is one of the many techniques and the one that probably now is having the most of the successes. The idea is that as animals, we have a nervous system that is already capable of intelligence. Let's see if we can mathematically model this, perhaps not in all the details, just in the logical foundations, and then try to put these mathematical models in a computer. And we found out that this can work surprisingly well, in particular because this model is capable of learning. So you can you can draw your model without having to detail every bit, everything that is going inside the model, and just make the model learn all the connections between the artificial neurons so that it learns by itself what is right, what is wrong in a given situation. In particular, in the last decade or so, these arrived to the concept of deep learning. Deep learning is basically the combination of two main factors. One is very large artificial neural networks, and the other is the concept of end-to-end learning. So we don't try anymore to break down problems into pieces, into subtasks. We just provide the neural network with the input and the desired output, and we let the training algorithm, the learning algorithm, make its magic and make it so the neural network is able to learn to solve the problem for us. This has been possible thanks to a few advancements in technology, in particular affordable computing power. It has been made possible by the availability of large sets of data from the internet, and also from some new algorithms, even though the foundations were already present back in the 60s. So what we can do with the deep learning? So by and large, all the new applications of artificial intelligence, the most notable one are deep learning. So we can interchange the two terms, even if it is not really correct, 100% correct. Now, the first very successful domain of applications has been pattern recognition, in particular artificial vision and speech recognition. These are things that we as humans find very, very natural, very, very simple. We look at a picture, we immediately understand what's in the picture. But until a decade ago, making machines be able to have the same accuracy of humans was basically considered almost impossible. And this was being the first kind of problems in which the deep learning approach demonstrated to be very, very successful. In fact, today, in artificial vision and in speech recognition, machines perform pretty much as well as humans. So we consider these problems actually solved. And it took just 5 or 6 years of work on this direction. Other things where AI is a natural solution are those related to problem solving in general. Here you can see a few notable examples. These are both from DeepMind. One is their solution for an artificial player for the game of Go. The game of Go is very complicated. It's a lot more complicated than chess. And it was considered a sort of benchmark for artificial intelligence. A prediction were that we were not able to solve this kind of problem for another decade or so. And actually, in 2016, they were able to defeat, and by a large margin, the strongest player, the strongest human player we had. And they also consider it the strongest player in the history of the game of Go. So not just a random champion, but the most winning champion of all the times. And the computer won by a large margin, and that was a significant achievement. And another application in this area is that of protein folding. Here the job is, given the chemical structure of protein, to predict how the protein would fold itself in 3D space. And this also determines how the protein works. And this is very, very important for drug discovery, for medicine and other applications. And again, this was a very, very difficult problem to face. And a couple of years ago, they basically solved the problem. So now these protein folding predictors are as accurate as the actual microscopes and all the devices that actually see the 3D structure of proteins. We have other notable applications in the field of automation. These are very straightforward. We have self-driving cars, vacuum cleaners, and this also shows how this enters our daily life. Just an announcement from a couple of days ago, on Amazon, they decided to start working with humanoid robots in their warehouse, and this is raising a lot of concern from other people. Then we have applications in information management and information retrieval. One very notable example are recommender systems. So those systems that tell us what we may like to read or watch on the television or other things like that. And that's, in my opinion, is the most scary part of artificial intelligence. And finally, a domain where we thought that we humans were actually not even accounted for machines is that of content creation. We imagined that creating new content and being artists was something that was really special about humans. And recently, we actually discovered that these are perhaps the easiest of the tasks that we are trying to face with artificial intelligence. You can see a couple of examples. One is ChatGPT that we all know very well. Probably everybody played a little bit with ChatGPT. Here you can see what he answered about the topic of today's workshop. And you can see that was saying reasonable things. Maybe more surprising is the image on the left. This is a picture generated by a computer, and this drawing won an art competition where the other contestants were actually humans, and the jury was not aware that the picture was made by a computer. And so when they assigned the prize, they were quite upset because they basically decided that piece of art made by computer was better than all the other paintings from real humans. So you see that it's not really so straightforward what's easy for a computer, what's easy for us. Now, just to close my brief speech, let's see how AI may help leaders. I don't have a very deep understanding of this issue because I don't know too much what leadership is about. I have just a basic understanding, just as everybody has. So what I found is that probably one nice area where AI may help leaders is just making so they focus on leadership and not on other tasks like, I don't know, taking notes or summarizing documents or other things. So let machines do what they can and let humans do what they are best at. That's the main idea of this. Another area is in the data analysis. Now we have so much data that no human can actually imagine, it can really look at or understand. So we need machines on this. We need machine to skim through the data and emphasize what's important for us. So finding patterns, extracting knowledge. What's new about AI, and that is not just statistics, is that AI may also look at things that are not workable for normal statistics. For instance, a very important topic for AI is that of sentiment analysis. So how a machine may grasp the main mental state of a person that perhaps wrote a review on a social network, something like that. So the fact that machines may analyze a ton of comments, reviews, posts, things like that, and grasp the main sentiment about, let's say, a product, an idea, a political debate, things like that. This is something that may help leaders in understand how things are going on a given topic, perhaps. And finally, we are decision making. Now, making good decisions is something that we think is very human-like. AI may help in this direction. There are many techniques. These are more about classic AI, actually. So it's easier to make good decision if you can see what is going to be the impact of these decisions. So if you're able to simulate what is the effect of the decision you're going to take, or to forecast what is going to happen. Okay, just to close, we saw that AI has a lot of opportunities. There are also many risks. Many very important people in the community are debating about the risk of AI. Of course, we have the risk of losing jobs and the opportunity to find new jobs. One of the risks is that AI is pervasive, so is entering our lives from every direction. Again, I think that most scary part is that of recommendation systems that actually is telling us what we have to read, what we have to watch, what we're going to enjoy. And this is changing our mind. So it is not just pure information. This is changing what we are. So if you watch what the machine is telling you to watch, if you read the books that you get suggested, of course, you risk a lot to get into the confirmation bias and to stay on your side of things, to not change your point of view, because that's what the machine rightfully thinks we are going to enjoy reading and watching. So maybe sometimes we have to also learn to watch and read what we don't like, because that's where maybe we're going to find something new. My point of view is that of universities. So I think that all these risks can be mitigated by knowledge. So I really think that with all these risks, everybody should be knowledgeable about artificial intelligence, at least a little bit. And so I think that studying AI is a very good idea, not just because you're going to get a good job, probably, but because you are going to have the tools to manage all these. Our point of view here at University of Pavia is that, again, of embracing the fact that we need knowledge about artificial intelligence. We created a few programs together with other partners, in particular the University of Milan, the State University of Milan, and the other University of Milan Bicocca. We created a group of 3 different degrees in artificial intelligence. I'm a director of the Bachelor of Science in Artificial Intelligence. It's a very unique program on artificial intelligence. It has many specialties. It involves 3 universities. It is interdisciplinary. So not only you study computer science and math, which are the foundation of artificial intelligence, but also physics, neuroscience, cognitive psychology, ethics, so many things like that. And it was an international degree. We have about a third of our students coming from outside Italy. The main point is to study AI not as specialization of computer science, but as a discipline by itself. And so our students start studying artificial intelligence from day one. So from the first day of their career here at the university, they will start studying artificial intelligence. Okay, so that's it from my side.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Claudio, and for your input. And this is the moment to bridge all these worlds together, so to say. So we talked about soft skills, we talked about leadership, and we talked about AI more from the engineering side, so to say, and how the current developments are taking place. And yeah, we crafted this topic to have an intersection between these. We heard different viewpoints, and maybe it's good to start with some of the questions that the audience raised, because I think some of these points are actually being addressed by the audience. It seems so. Let's simply start with that, and feel free to interact with each other and comment. So first of all, starting with a question, I think I'm not sure about the name, because my knowledge of the Greek language is not so good. But question was that you met initially: what specific soft skills do you believe are most crucial for leaders in an AI-driven world, and why? You did answer this written, but maybe you can mention this verbally to the audience as well, and feel free for anyone, Claudio or Dawn as well, to add. Do you believe are most crucial for leaders in an AI-driven world, and why?
Yeah, thank you for this question. As I mentioned in the chat, I think that today working on our self-awareness, as we were mentioning earlier, is absolutely crucial, because with all the distractions and the external events and the hyper exposition to media, we kind of lose our awareness of who we really are, because we're constantly almost harassed by all those external things pulling for our attention. So working on self-awareness is really key today. And that goes hand in hand with working on mental clarity. With all the distractions, our minds are constantly hopping from one distraction to the next, or one object to the next, and working on our focus, on really learning how to keep our mind focused on one single object of focus. It can be a work focus, or even just listening to someone. I find that this is something that's really lacking today, especially with students. And then I also mentioned emotional work, especially for people who live in urban areas with a lot of big population. This increases friction, emotional friction. And we have a tendency today to have millions of micro emotions that accumulate all throughout the day, just because of all the human interactions we have. And not having developed an emotional awareness can create an accumulation of all these micro emotions that creates a feeling of stress or of anxiety, but we don't really know where it comes from, because it's this accumulation of micro triggers. So I think those are 3 skills that are really a priority today when it comes to focusing on our soft skills development.
Okay, great. Thanks for your input, Guillemette. Actually, we did post a poll on this question, so I think that links good to this. Which soft skills did the audience feel is the most crucial for leaders in today's AI landscape? And we had a tie, so to say, between emotional intelligence and adaptability. Those were the 2 main ones that the audience felt were the most crucial. I think emotional intelligence is what you just mentioned as well, leaning a bit to what you said, Guillemette, I believe. And less it was from the audience around problem solving and not on communication. Interesting to see that. So that was a bit of the viewpoint from the audience. Claudio or Don, do you have anything to add to this point? Or not?
Yeah. Just to say that, my opinion, what this is going to suggest is that maybe we should look for flexibility in the first place. So try not to focus on specific things. Try to get an open mind as much as possible. So look for different kind of knowledge, look for different disciplines, try to mix them, and try to learn how things work. That's really, I think, the most important thing, that, in my opinion, is that whatever you want to do with AI, even if your goal is to not use AI, the best thing is to learn how it works, at least a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Good, thank you very much. And next question, leaning towards this as well. So how do you, let's see, how do you envision AI enhance soft skills to enhance leadership rather than replacing it? So also actually part of the topic. I think, Guillemette, it was you answering that verbal or written there. Maybe you want to mention that. And I don't know if Don had a viewpoint on this as well, since it was talking about leadership. But Guillemette, what did you say?
Yeah, how can AI enhance our leadership skills? So as Professor Cusano was mentioning, AI can really help with our problem solving, our data analysis, and help us make decisions much faster. So that really helps with one aspect of leadership, which is making quicker, more efficient decisions, maybe even more objective decisions. What I believe is that it really focuses on one facet of leadership, and it's important to look at the other facets of leadership that aren't addressed by AI. For example, having clear values and aligning your actions to your values. Being present to yourself and to others. Usually a strong leader has a very strong presence, you know? You can feel their presence. That's all encompassing in a room, for example, or in a group. Being focused and being able to use our minds. So those are other qualities that aren't really addressed by AI. And resilience, of course. Building resilience is something that we need to do just with ourselves, and tools can't really help us build resilience. But I really appreciate Professor Cusano's conclusion about watching and reading what we don't like. This is, so AI tools right now, they really encourage us, as he was mentioning, to follow our existing trends, whether they're political, cultural, consumerist trends. And having an open mind and watching and reading what we wouldn't really tend to go towards is something that's really requires openness. So I really appreciate that conclusion, Professor Cusano. Thank you.
Yes, thank you as well. We're getting thumbs up from the audience as well, so it's also appreciated from them. In terms of leadership, Dawn, was there anything else you wanted to add, or all good?
Yeah, I would really just kind of like echo, I think, and absolutely agreeing with Guillemette and kind of the context of when we're thinking about how quickly I think of it in terms of when we're utilizing AI, we're kind of thinking of how to do some processes quicker. When I'm thinking of the human side of leadership and the ability to slow things down, to question, to take steps, to be strategic, and to be intentional with the steps and the processes that you're taking, is really the human side of being able to build kind of like when you're thinking of your self-awareness and building out and understanding your own like boundaries and your limitations when it comes to different maybe routines or habits. When you're aware of that for yourself, you are therefore then able to kind of support others and being able to take the steps to foster like a team of slowing down, questioning the steps we're taking. Are we doing this the most effective? Are we moving too quickly on this? And then also being able to be conscious of what we are able to let go of. I think it's the process of moving too quickly. Sometimes things can get lost, but being able to acknowledge what is no longer serving you. Like I would question the ability of when does an AI know when to like shut off different processes. I would say that's a very human trait of knowing like this is enough, pause, move on, find something different. So kind of that awareness for self, and then being able to, as a leader, provide that to the people around you.
Great, thank you. Very good point. Thanks for that addition, Don. Question from Christina. Are there specific strategies or best practices universities can adopt to ensure that their leadership development programs are effective in preparing students for an AI-driven world? Christina's working at a university, I noticed. Yeah, what are your viewpoints on that? I think, again, Guillemette, you answered partially already. Maybe good to echo that.
Yeah, I'm happy to reiterate that. But absolutely, universities can really provide the space and the time for students to develop soft skills that they wouldn't develop in a purely academic settings. And things such as learning to work on your emotions, learning to plan strategically, are skills that are absolutely necessary, even irrespective of AI, but just to live in society, and that are never actually taught in universities. You kind of have to learn how to figure things out on your own. But specifically for an AI context, things such as I was mentioning, working on self-awareness, helping students clarify their own vision and their own values so that they're more resilient and that they can make better choices when they'll be confronted with AI tools. These are absolutely crucial to develop. So the more these soft skills linked to resilience, emotional resilience and psychological resilience, focus, are cultivated, the more students will be prepared to live in a world that's really driven by artificial intelligence, from my perspective.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Yeah, I would love to just add to that in terms of like institutions of being able to be, of course, a space of learning. We can acknowledge that when students are in a process of learning new things, especially something like self-awareness is really kind of potentially very uncomfortable in the process surrounding self-exploration, is really being able to kind of provide them with a scaffolded curriculum and facilitation that allows them the space to have somewhere to start and then some steps to help them progress forward, alongside just providing like a safe space to bravely explore these new things that maybe they have not tried to explore previously in their lives. So yeah, I would just echo providing a space to be brave in that exploration, and just recognizing the scaffolding of curriculum, of having a starting point and allowing them to take the journey.
Okay, Great, thank you, Don, for that addition. And I was wondering, Professor Claudio, for you as well, since you're teaching this, I know you're not involved in leadership, but I was wondering what types of, when you teach AI, is there also considerations about possibly even soft skills or the ethics of this, or are some of these points being addressed, as you know, from the University of Pavia, or is that something that's really outside of the technical scope of the program?
Well, now soft skills are a very hot topic in all universities nowadays, and pretty much all programs are pushed toward adoption of some kind of teaching in these areas. My opinion, maybe is not too popular about this, is that it would provide a very rich environment, which it doesn't really is limited to the classroom. So you put the university as a rich community. This is going to improve soft skills by self. But maybe that's just because I'm not too much aware about this. So the most important part for university is to provide a rich cultural environment, which is not just studying in the classroom and making exams, these kind of things, but is also develop new interests, provide a rich set of interactions among students. And these alone probably will make a lot in terms of development for our students.
Great. Thank you, Claudio, for that addition. I stay with you because we have a next question from Popescu, asking, Professor, do you think AI will take over most jobs? And if so, how do you see our future employment roles and tasks?
Well, that's an issue. That's part of the current debate. And most of the positions are not if AI is going to take our jobs, but how much and which ones. And that's not surprising because in the end, the goal of technology is that of making so we can do what we are forced to. So I hope that many of the jobs that currently we don't like to do too much could be taken over by machines, and that we can focus on what we like to do. That's not necessarily what is going to happen. In fact, I was saying, surprising, the most at-risk jobs that we have today are those related to content creation. So we are having, in this recent period, a lot of strikes and worries about the community in Hollywood, about people, actors or playwriters that sees their jobs at risk. I don't know, in Italy we have most of the contents about movies and that get dubbed. And this is one of the jobs that is seen as being the most at risk. And I have contacts with publishers, and most publishers today are seeking for article writing machines that make it possible to not have journalists in their teams. And this may be the unfortunate truth for the near future. Of course, it's quite obvious to say that some jobs will become obsolete, others will become new and more relevant. So what we have to do probably is not to try to stop AI in doing that, but it is to try to shape our society so that we can afford to let machines do this kind of job, and we can focus on other kind of jobs. I mean, as you must, our main problem is that we need time for this. And these technologies are going at a crazy speed. Nobody was talking about AI 10 years ago.
Exactly. That's exactly where we are at this moment, indeed. That's why we felt this topic was very important to address. and for everybody to get a better understanding and the convergence of these two worlds, what is going on now. Miha has a question to you, Professor, as well. Can you provide examples of AI tools or technologies that have shown promise in supporting leadership or decision making? I don't know if this is a question you can answer.
Yeah. No, decision making is actually not a new topic. We have many techniques, many tools that already help decision makers since many decades. And again, the point is tools to analyze data and to grab information from data. Now, the difference is that we have a lot more data than in the past, so we need more powerful tools for this. We need tools that are able to capture things that are not as easy to capture like other data, like for instance, the example I made about sentiment analysis. This is not the future, this is just our present. Political parties, marketing campaigns, today they use sentiment analysis a lot. They throw out an idea and then they monitor social networks to see in real time how this idea is recognized by people, if they like it or not. So these are not actually tools for the future, they are tools for the present day. And again, the hope for the future is that AI is going to be good enough so that we can really let machines do jobs that we don't like to say, answer to many of the emails we spend a lot of time to answer to. If we add a system that is able to select just the most meaningful ones and provide reasonable answers for the others, that would be great. And we may have many other examples like this.
Thank you very much. Before actually that leads into the next point of ethics, something that is a whole session you can talk about probably by itself. I don't know, Guillemette or Don, did you want to add something to this point of how the examples of AI tools, or no? All right, next question is about the ethics, actually. What is your opinion on the ethics of AI, and what can be done to direct the development to minimize risks, threats, and still feel that we're in control of our lives? So a little bit of what you just said, Claudio. Popescu was wondering about that. What is your viewpoint on this?
Oh, well, that's a huge topic.
Mm-hmm.
Ethics and AI is a huge topic, and a lot of colleagues from the technical side, from the philosophy community, are actually working on this topic because it's very, very important. We have many important issues related to ethics and AI. It's very difficult to summarize these in a few minutes, to say. So that's a very large topic. It's really, really important. So we have to work on this. We have to better understand what's happening here. There are many fields in which this already poses very strong concerns. Again, my main worries are about recommender systems. There is a strong ethical issue about recommender systems, and many others are going to come. The last one, that just to show you the spectrum, is this goes from what is ethical for us to do now with these tools, and the other part of the spectrum is are at some point would be correct to, for instance, recognize rights for machines. So they are going to be not only the object of our ethics, but also the subject for the ethics. So this is the whole spectrum of issues, and there are many others in the middle.
Great. Well, Thank you very much for that viewpoint. I think that does summarize a little bit of where we are right now. Again, ethics indeed is a very big topic, and if you just open a newspaper, wherever you are, it will address a lot of these concerns. And as we started in the introduction, it is now transforming all parts of society, and these ethical societal implications are being just starting. And that's where these part the humanities and as we address this session to the soft skills, that's where they come in. They are needed, so we need these two worlds to get combined. Yeah, before we close the session, I actually had a poll open as well. So thanks everyone already for having answered that, about a topic you would like to hear more about in the future. We create these webinar summits for you. It is about having an interesting viewpoint from especially the education world to bring people together and talk about topics that are people think about. We addressed a couple of topics in the poll. So far we see AI and automation being one of them, and students' mental health. Also mentioned, actually Guillemette addressed this as well, a concern that we have to create a space for ourselves and our self-awareness, and mental health, of course, is an important part that we probably will address in the next in one of the next webinar summits as well. Sustainable campuses, well, we put it there for a reason, because we did a webinar summit on this, so you can watch it on our website. There you will find it. It is about how you can help as a university to be sustainable. We gave examples from University of Pavia, actually. I was speaking, and the University of Amsterdam, where they provided how to be sustainable and help in a more greener world. So check out our website. I can put the link in the chat for you. Anyway, let us know your feedback. And before you have to go, we will have a last polling question. Any last comments whilst we do that from any one of the panelists that wants to like to maybe from their viewpoint summarize a little bit, or just some last words about this topic? Feel free.
Okay, maybe one last point from my side. We talked today mostly about AI as a tool. Actually, maybe we are losing the most fascinating part of AI. AI is partially about machines, but mostly about humans. So the most exciting part of artificial intelligence is that by studying how we can make a machine reason like a human, we learn a lot of how humans reason. And I think that's the most important part. By understanding how machines learn and are able to solve problems and to be intelligent, in the end, we also learn how we humans, or maybe the other animals, provide the same capabilities. So we are studying a bit more about ourselves than about technology and machines, or through technology and machines.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to add something?
I would just like to echo kind of the significance of, as institutions, being able to provide space for like development leaders, such as like at the University of Bristol, we have Guillemette, to be able to provide that exploration into the inner qualities of students. And for us, it was just a focus, of course, on being able to provide that space and that opportunity for students to explore alongside that. So do it.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate very much the input, and I see the audience does as well. So we're getting a lot of thank yous. That people found an amazing webinar. It was very interesting. Well, I did for one. I was really looking forward to this as well, to hear all of your viewpoints coming together. And this is for sure some debate that will be continued for maybe years to come. But at least we hope this was useful to all of you, and to look forward to seeing you in some of the next webinar summits. From my side, I'm Luc Mulling for Webinar Leads for You. I'd like to thank everyone for having joined. And thank you very much, Professor Claudio Cusano from the University of Pavia, Don from the University of Bristol, and Guillaume from your side as well as a leadership consultant. Thank you very much for your time, your preparation time in this as well, and of course today in the presentation. And have a good day, everyone. And maybe everyone can have a moment to breathe again as we started the session. I will display a little video made by AI for us, but with that, have a good day and take care of yourself.
At Webinar Leads for You, we believe in the power of education. We understand the challenges universities face in attracting and recruiting international students. In the heart of every great university lies a commitment to knowledge, growth, and innovation. We share that commitment. We understand that it starts with recruiting the right students that fit your programs and meet the qualifications. That's why we've developed a comprehensive student recruitment service designed specifically for universities like yours. Our service is tailored to showcase the unique qualities and strengths of your institution. Through captivating webinars and informative content, we help you connect with prospective students from all over the world. With our transparent reporting, you can gain deep insights through every click, every question, and every connection, which contribute to a comprehensive picture to help convert the right students. But don't just take our word for it. We've already helped hundreds of universities and business schools from over 50 different countries recruit new international students. Contact us today and let's start a conversation about how Webinar Leads for You can transform your student recruitment efforts. Join us in shaping the future of education. Let's bridge gaps, amplify voices, and ignite minds together. Outsource your doing, not your thinking.